hands together, y'all. Barry D, Tommy T. We gonna have a good time tonight. Let's go, let's go. It's all me and Sweat.
I thought it was Tuesday night.
No, because they played last night, which was Thursday. They played back-to-back. He didn't play last night.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah. So I just got in time, and I raced home, and I got the second half. I said he'll break it in the fourth quarter. It's funny. He broke it in the third quarter, and he also broke it 2 months before everybody planned on it. Like, nobody planned on him scoring 30 points a game. I mean, playing as many games as he has. I mean, he's been incredible. The best thing about this record for LeBron is that he didn't stumble past it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lifetime record. It's not like Aaron Judge setting the single season home run record when Aaron Judge was at his peak, right? This is LeBron in his 20th year. He's 38 years old, and he's not limping to the finish line. I mean, he's breaking this record while playing dominant, efficient basketball, like incredible ball.
And you could say with this year so far, with a subpar team, with subpar talent overall.
Oh yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean,
we'll see what these trades. We'll see what these trades end up doing for him. I think they got a stronger lineup now, obviously, and but it is crazy. I mean, the guy's 38, and when he goes to the bucket, it's amazing.
Well, Barry D, a couple games this year, he had 46 points one game and no turnovers.
I mean, how?
I mean, he's and then he scored 47 points another night. He broke some. I forget what record he broke that night, but he's had some incredible games where he's been unstoppable, and he's taken it to the basket, and he's being guarded by 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 24-year-olds. He's guarded by everybody at the peak of their athletic careers, and he's dominating people. This record is incredible. And we've talked about how great Kareem is. I truly believe that Kareem is the GOAT. I don't believe Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I believe Michael Jordan is the great player, like amazing player. And I know 99% of basketball fans around our age are going to say that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. I don't believe so. I believe it was Kareem. I think if you had to start a team in any era in basketball, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s now, if you had to start an era in any a team in any era, and you could be guaranteed to have a player for his entire career, I would take Kareem over Michael Jordan, over Kobe, and over LeBron.
Because I think the thing is this. I completely agree. We're old enough to remember when Kareem came into the league and went to the Bucks, and how unbelievably dominant he was from the start. The guy was incredible. It was like, oh my God, look at this guy, and everyone already knew about him. As before, like even in high school, everybody knew about this guy. I just think the publicity of it and the media wasn't as big as when it was in the Jordan era-ish. I think it started hopping in the Jordan era-ish. I think Kareem just kind of like got forgotten in a weird way but there's basketball people like us that don't forget about him.
Well, because also he's a center. And Michael Jordan was an all-around player, an all-court player. He could play inside, outside defense. Michael Jordan was an incredible player. I mean, I feel bad saying that he's not the GOAT, but in my opinion, he's not. Michael Jordan was a great player, but I also believe that Michael Jordan's decade, the 90s, I've told this to you before, and I'm going to get killed for this, but I believe that his decade was the worst decade since you and I been alive watching the games. We started watching the games in the 70s. I believe that the 70s were better than Michael's era. The 80s were better with the Celtics and the Lakers and the Pistons at the end of the 80s. Michael couldn't touch those teams in the 80s. And then in the 90s, he beat an old Lakers team in 91. He beat an old Pistons team. He couldn't beat any of those teams when they were in their prime. And then he beat Portland, Phoenix, Utah in the finals. I mean, he played in the worst decade, and it's not Michael's fault, because if Michael played now, if he played in the 2000s, he would have been just as dominant. He would have won all kinds of MVPs, and he would have won NBA championships. But I don't think he would have gone 6-0. Even with that great team that he had, I don't think he would have gone 6-0 now. I think that it's somewhere along the line, LeBron and Dwayne Wade would have beat him. Somewhere along the line, maybe Steph and and Clay and Draymond would have beat him.
That's a good point.
Michael Jordan had an easy 10 years. And again, everyone will kill me. Everyone will say, you got to know what he's talking about. They played defense back then. The Pistons, they would hit you. They would knock you to the ground. Yeah, it was a rougher game in the 90s. But I swear to you, Michael's last 8-10 years, if you just breathed on him, they put him on the foul line.
Yeah, because that's a good point. Because Kareem on those teams in the 80s, those Lakers teams, when they would play the Celtics, those were good teams. It was hard.
Oh my God.
It was tough to get in there and to win it. Like Jordan, like he'd get in almost automatically.
Buddy, not just the Celtics. Kareem's team had to beat the 76ers. They beat the Sixers twice. They lost once to the Sixers. They had to beat the Pistons when the Pistons were great. I mean, that era of the 80s was incredible. That was the best. And then Jordan comes along. He beats Utah with Karl Malone and
Stockton.
Hornacek. Yeah. You remember we were there. We interviewed those guys. We were there media day. We were asking Jeff Hornacek. Remember we were all surrounding all the players, and we were trying to get questions in, and all the media guys. Like it was media day, when the Bulls were playing Utah in '98 finals, and we were trying to get questions in, and they were pushing us, and it was all this shoving. And I finally got in there. They were all asking Hornacek, hey, because he had a bad knee. Remember, he had a bad knee.
Yeah.
They were asking him, hey, Jeff, how's your knee holding up? You think your knee's going to be okay for the game tomorrow night? Yeah. I think my knee's good. I think, my kne's okay. Next question. Hey, Jeff, you got to cover Michael Jordan. Are you going to be able to cover Michael Jordan with that bad knee? Has a bad knee. Everyone's about his knee. Then I squeeze in there finally, and I'm like, hey, Jeff, it's Barry D and Tommy T. We're Sport Jerks. Hey, listen, I got one question for you. Do you think your knee would feel better if you didn't have to stand there and answer all these questions about your knee? And he looked at us. He looked down at us. He's 6'4". He looked down at us, and he's like, yeah, it would feel better. Right. And then they threw us out.
Because but he liked the question because everyone was asking him the same question. And that's the game, the chicken soup game. That Jordan was sick, went in, got the chicken soup, came back out. Fifth row center court. We saw, I always say it's his last shot because I don't count anything after that series for Jordan. I don't count the Wizard stuff. And I don't count it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw he pushed Byron Russell. He took his hand right on his hip, pushed him.
That's okay.
Out of the way.
Shove off. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they won the next game, right? And that was it.
The statue.
Right? Am I right?
No, that was the last game. That was
the last game. You're right.
That was game 6. Yeah. So
yeah.
But the thing is, though, I know the statue outside of Chicago Stadium. I know the statue must be Jordan, like flying through the air, like the Nike logo. That must be the statue. But I often thought that the statue should have been his follow through on that last shot.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a great statue because he exaggerated the follow through. He held it. Remember, he came down and he held it.
Yep.
Remember, he held it.
Yep.
And I thought that should have been or at least 2 statues. Jordan deserves 2 statues, not 1.
That was awesome experience. Like again, people don't know. Like sometimes I think right now, we're doing this show on the Believe Network, and Believe Network's all about the fan, and it's every team, every location, every region, and every topic. So these people are believing the Bulls, believing this. They're all the fans. Like me and you were the original fans. I mean, we were the original guys going out there and doing sports entertainment show as the fan before any of this even started. And when we did that finals game, it was hilarious because it was funny because remember we went and got those tuxedo jackets with the black with the nice silk black trim.
I had the Bulls. I had a red.
You had a red one.
It was all paisley with the black lapels.
Yeah,
it was red. And then you had the Utah Jazz colors. You had the light blue with the black lapel. And I think someone said that we look like jazz singers.
Well, John Sally said you guys look like you stole those jackets from your last waiter's job. And then
remember we interviewed Jack Ramsey, the old coach of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And, he was an announcer with TNT, and I said we stole these out of your closet, right? Because I used to wear it. He goes, no, you didn't take them out of my closet. Yeah.
And then David Stern, we talked to David Stern on the court, and he looked at me and he goes, that's a great jacket. He goes, I was going to wear that, but then he turned to you. He goes, but I think I was going to wear that one. He goes, I'm glad I didn't. He was funny. That David Stern had a good sense of humor. I mean, we've got stories like crazy. We usually end the show with a story, but we'll start with a story. Even though it's NFL Super Bowl, I think it was best to just talk. I mean, me and you are Laker fans. We're going to talk about what happened on Wednesday. It's like, come on, why not? We'll talk more about the trades that happened. Of course, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. So let's start the show. Let me do my I'll do my little intro that I got to do, and then we'll get right into it. So O.M.I.S Sweats, Barry D, and this is my buddy Tommy T, and this is our program brought to you by the Believe Network. Hashtag We Believe. Hashtag Do You Believe? And I got a hashtag for us now. I thought about it. It's hashtag O.M.I.S Believe. BLEAV. I mean, that's short enough. That's a good one.
So, tell them what O.M.I.S is for. Tell them what it stands for.
Yeah, O.M.I.S Sweats. Yeah. I mean, like everything's abbreviated. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken's KFC now, right? I mean, everything's abbreviated.
Tell them how you called me 3 years ago because, obviously we've been working on and off for 25 years, and then we've known each other for 50 years. But you called me a few years ago and you said, Tommy T, you go, I got an idea. You go, I got an idea that's going to get us a house on the hill, big house on the hill. And I said, what's that? You go, I got another show idea. We're the old men in sweats. I said,
and then you told your dad the name.
Great, he died.
Remember, you called your dad, and your dad cracked up.
Yeah, he died. Old man.
He couldn't believe it. Yeah. So anyway, this is our Super Bowl LV dose. I call it LV dose. Right, it's right. It's the Roman numerals LV and then two singulars. So we're at 57, right? Is that where we're at? LV dose Super Bowl extravaganza show, Old Men in Sweats. So first of all, do you have any senior health check? I'm okay. I'm doing good. You got any thing you need to share with me?
I'm good, buddy. I did a hot yoga class yesterday. It was 100 degrees with over 40% humidity in the room. It's like like I do yoga like in a sauna. Remember we used to go in a sauna? When we were on the road, we used to go to a hotel. We used to go in the sauna, and I couldn't stay in there more than 5 minutes.
You can go in there now longer, right?
No, I do a yoga class practically in a sauna. I could do 60 minutes, like stand on my head, like do all these warrior poses. I don't even know how. But yeah, I just did a yoga class yesterday, and then 2 days before that, I did a boot camp. So no, we're good. Everything's good right now.
In New York, I'm going to come. I'm going to be in Vegas soon, and then before you know it, I'm going to be there part-time winter, sometimes in the late spring, and then full-time. But I went to this place in New York City, because I'm right outside of New York City, and it's this Russian-Turkish bath place.
Oh yeah, well I've been to those.
My God, Tom, it's crazy in there. Like you go in the sauna, then you go. They got the steam room, and then you go the cold plunge, and then this is the thing. You go in this room, the sauna is even higher than a regular sauna. Oh. And a guy's in there. There's a guy in there. But there's a guy in there, and he's got this broom. It's like a big broom. And he's got it, and he holds it, and he whips you with it. And it's supposed to like get your circulation going even more. It's some kind of Russian-Turkish thing that's supposed to work. It looks like he's really hurting you, but it doesn't hurt you. It's like a big broom, like a witch's broom, it looks like. And he takes it, he goes, wow, 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 wow. And it gets your circulation going. And, young people go, but I think it's really good for old people. They say that heat and cold.
You must have to sign a waiver before you go in there.
You sign a paper. Yeah, you got to sign a waiver to get an ice cream cone. Ice cream cone these days. I mean, so I like it though. Like at first, I looked at the guy and I go, it looks scary. I mean, it looked like it could hurt, and it didn't hurt, and it didn't leave any marks. But if you look it up, it's Russian Turkish bath. I don't know if they got one in Vegas, but if they do, we got to go.
Well, you remember on The Sopranos, that's where Paulie tried to find out if Big Puss was wired.
Oh, that's how he did it, right? He brought him. No, that's a good idea.
He tried to find out if he was wired. He tried to find out if he was a rat. He told him, "Get undressed. Get undressed. We're gonna take a spritz." They called it a spritz.
That's what they called that, huh?
That was at the Russian. That was at the Russian thing. That's that place. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's okay. So I didn't. Yeah. That's what he called it, huh? But I tell you, if we could find one in Vegas, me and you will go. But I was like stunned because I thought
there's one in L.A. I know where there's one in L.A. on Pico. Right. On Pico and Rimpau. Like I know.
We'll go right over there.
I've been to it before. I used to go with Paulie. But when I was working with Paulie Shore, I used to go there all the time. Like it's crazy in there.
It is crazy though. Like people are a little crazy. Like I was getting nervous because the second one where they go and the guy hits you with the broom is really hot. Like way hot. And the cold plunge, I get a little nervous. I know it's good to do it, but I get always nervous that going from that hot to that cold is, bad for like your heart could go crazy. But they say no. They say it actually is really good for you because you're shocking your system all the time. Which is good. I don't know.
Who's they? When you say they say no, who is that?
The people that take your money to go in there. The people that take your money. So look at. I wanted to say something. I didn't get a chance to say this, but as we're looking for sponsors, this senior health check is a really good one, and we could talk about ourselves, we could talk about players, we could talk about retired players, we could have retired players on. And today, it was like weird how I got this magazine today in the mail. I got an AARP magazine with Adam Sandler.
I got that. Yeah,
do you get that? Yeah. So our senior health check, again, if AARP wants to contact us, we could this segment, senior health check, Old Men is What Senior Health Check, could be sponsored by AARP. I mean, he likes AARP. He's on the cover. You
don't think of Adam as being old.
He's got a basketball. Can he play ball? Is he supposed to be like good?
Yeah, he could play. He could play. He's got a court outside his office for years.
Where'd he grow up? What city?
He's from. I think he's from Boston. Also, isn't he from Boston?
Oh, he's a Celtic fan. Then he could play basketball. Then he can play ball.
Yeah, he could play. Him and his buddies played. They've been playing for years on the studio lot.
Yeah. All right. So I was happy that he was on it because I was like, you know what? I got the card. I signed up for the card. You get some discounts here and there, but I thought that was nice that he was on it because it makes me feel good because I like him. He's funny and he plays ball. I like that. I just don't like he's a Celtic fan. I'm sure he's a Celtic fan. I don't like that. I don't dig that at all. No. Okay, so let's get right in. Let's shift gears here. I don't want to talk about the NFL yet. I want to go quickly to. I got a new segment. I got this new segment. I didn't tell you about it. We're going to go at it. You're not prepared for this, but this is going to show you how much you remember and how much stuff you know just in general.
Are you sure?
Just over your life. Oh, yes. I'm confident. I'm 100% confident.
Hey, what is this?
Ready?
What is this Paul Crew? Is that from the Longest Yard, Paul Crew?
Yeah, that's me today.
Adam Sandler, he played Paul Crew in the remake.
But I like Burt Reynolds in the character.
Of course.
Yeah, I know he played the remake.
Burt Reynolds was a real good tailback for Florida State back in the 60s.
Yeah, he actually was a football player.
Good football player, yeah.
All right, so let's get into. So this is the new segment. It's called Tommy T Knows. And it's brought to you by, again, disclaimer, they don't really sponsor it yet, but it's brought to you by Google because Google knows everything. So this is like Tommy T Knows.
Not as much as me.
So we're going to do Tommy T Knows. Okay, first one. I just want you to give your take on Brady's retirement quickly. What do you think?
Yeah.
Give me some kind of something about him.
Well, did he play 24 years, 25 years? How many years did he play? He played 25 years, right? He got drafted in 2002. So, he played 22 years. 22 years.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, I'm glad he retired. I don't want the guy to get hurt. Right? We don't want the guy to get hurt. And the other thing is he's got a 10-year, $375 million contract waiting for him at Fox Sports. He's not going to do it this year. He's going to do it next year. So he's not going to lose any money. He's going to make more money as a retired player than he did as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time. This is funny with Brady. They say, whether he can still play or not. There's a lot of Brady haters out there. They say, oh, he's done.
Oh, they hate him.
Listen, buddy, even if he can still play, he still should retire. You don't have to play just because you can. Because you could still play doesn't mean that, you have to play, right? So, his team is bad. He doesn't have a team right now. He's a free agent. So, now's a perfect time to retire.
So what do you think? Just one question. He definitely, because we were talking about GOATs before with Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan. Is he the GOAT of the NFL?
No, I don't think he's the GOAT either. I think it's the same thing as Michael Jordan. Again, every time I say that Michael Jordan is not the GOAT, 99% of the fans just say that guy's an idiot. But I'm gonna still say I would take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest of all time. To me, Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play. I saw Joe Montana's entire career. I saw him. You just mentioned the chicken soup game for Michael Jordan. Joe Montana was the original chicken soup game. he played in the Cotton Bowl against the University of Houston.
It
was like 10 degrees that day, and he was suffering from the flu. And he went into the locker room at halftime, and he had chicken soup, and he came out in the second half, and he scored like 21 or 28 points. It was in the 70s. It was in like the 1976 or 1977 where he won that was the original chicken soup game by Joe Montana. And then when he played for Notre Dame, and then he got drafted in the third round by the 49ers. I think he rode the bench for 2 years. And then his first year as a starter, he won his first Super Bowl. People don't realize when Joe Montana played high school football in Western Pennsylvania, he was also Mr. Pennsylvania as a basketball player, and he got a basketball scholarship offer from North Carolina State in the mid 70s, and that was when North Carolina State won the national championship in 1974. Joe Montana was offered a basketball scholarship for that team. He would have been on that team.
Really?
Except scholarship. Yeah, that was when David Thompson was on that team with that little Monty Tao and Rick Wilson. So Joe Montana was, to me, he's
unbelievable athlete. So you think he's the GOAT? Like, see, again, and if anything, I respect what you say when you say everybody 99%. When I say Michael Jordan, they're not going to say no. And even now with Brady, a lot of people are going to say no. Even the probably haters would say no. You're crazy, it's Montana. But at least it's a conversation that needs to be had, and at least maybe people that really never watched film on Montana or Jabbar, because we were talking about Jabbar before, maybe they will, and they'll go, you know what? Maybe there's something to be said about these guys.
Well, I don't think you can watch film. I think at this point you only can look at numbers, right? The only way you can judge these guys is going back and looking at their numbers. Montana's numbers they'll pale in comparison to Patrick Mahomes nowadays and Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys. He never threw 50 touchdown passes in a season. But I watched Montana's entire career, and the only way you beat him in the playoffs is if you knocked him out of the game. The Giants did it twice. They knocked him out of the game twice.
They won.
They won both times. When Jim Burt beat him in 1986, they planted him in the Meadowlands. They planted him in the ground like Jimmy Hoffa. Like they hit him, knocked him out. And then 1991 at Candlestick, when what's his name? The Leonard Marshall ran across the entire field and hit him from behind and broke his hand.
The defense of those teams.
The only time the Giants ever beat Montana in the playoffs is they had to knock him out of the game. So, I watched his whole career. I still say Montana's the GOAT. I say Kareem's the GOAT. Sorry.
And it's good. And it is good that Brady retired. Like, now he's doing more important things. He's taking Instagram pictures of him in underwear, in his jockeys.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Like,
what are you doing? And I'm like, and he's covering his package with his hand. And he's like, is this the right way to do it? And I'm like, you're the GOAT, supposedly. Just show the package. Like, the girls, they don't want to see your hand in front of there. I mean, if it was Kenny Pickett, because he's got little hands, you can still see Kenny's package because he's got that little hands. But anyway.
That's funny.
Okay, next one. Yeah. Rodgers. Will Rodgers retire, or is he going to the Raiders?
Yeah, he's not going to go to the Raiders. He's not going to go to the Raiders because they don't have an offensive line. It's funny. Just going back, you said Kenny Pickett with the little hands. The reason they know Pickett's got little hands is because at that combine, at the NFL combine, they measure your hand size. Man, let me tell you something. It's ridiculous. I mean, they measure you. Like, I tell them, I got something you can measure right here. Measure this. Like, what do you measure my hand? Get out of here.
I got to tell you something about that quick, too, that I want you to talk about Rodgers in your segment, in your Tommy T No segment. You know how they put the stats up? You go to ESPN, they have weight, speed, the whole thing right on a player. They have hand size, too, right? For some reason, guess what? Kenny Pickett's isn't listed.
Yeah, because it's small. It's a small hand, but it doesn't look like it affects him any. He gets the ball down the field, no problem. I don't think that there's a problem with Kenny Pickett. Do you?
I always say it doesn't matter how you get things done. You could take two sticks and rub them together. Whatever the result is, it doesn't matter how you do it or what you got. It doesn't matter. So Rodgers, you don't think he's going to go to the Raiders and reunite?
Listen, if he goes to another team, he might do the same thing that Brett Favre did when he left Green Bay. Where did Favre go when he left Green Bay?
The Jets.
Yeah. The Jets need a quarterback. They could use Favre for 1 year. They got that Zach Taylor who stinks. He's terrible. Oh, my God. He's so bad.
Interesting.
They could go to the Jets. They got cap space. They got the team ready to go. He could roll in there and he could win a Super Bowl with the Jets. That's the place to go. The Jets. Go east, not west, young man. Go east.
Okay. All right, next thing. I don't know if you've looked at this, but you're usually pretty good about picking exactly what the NFL draft order will be. I don't want you to get really deep. I was going to ask you top 10, but I think I'll just ask you top 5.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm right now. I'm a little like I've been doing a couple mock drafts.
Yeah,
but this draft doesn't seem very deep. It seems like the defensive lineman from Georgia, Jalen Carter, is that his name?
Mm-hmm,
like that guy, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle. It seems like he's going to go in the top 5. And then the quarterbacks are going to be the guy from Alabama, Bryce Young, who they say is the most talented quarterback, but he's small. He's listed at 6 foot and 180, but everyone knows that he's not 6 foot and 180. He's smaller than that. Like he's generously listed right now. And then the other guy from Ohio State, CJ Stroud, is bigger. I watched both of those guys their whole careers. They're both excellent. You know why I know they're excellent? Because they make incredible throws on the run. Full speed, running out of the pocket. I've seen both of those guys full speed, running out of the pocket, throwing a 30-yard pass on the dime. So I think both of those guys are good. They're going to both go in the top 5. The other quarterback is Will Levis.
It's the Kentucky guy.
It's spelled like Levi's, but he's got to say Levis. I would just
say Kentucky,
Levi.
The Kentucky guy?
Yeah. He's no good. He was awful at Kentucky. I don't get it. I've seen some mocks where he's listed in the top 5. Whoever drafts that guy, they're getting another Carson Wentz or Zach Taylor. Like, I would never draft that guy. But those two guys from Ohio State and Alabama, those two guys are good. They're going to go in the top 5.
And you think Chicago will trade down?
If I were them, yes. I mean, they don't need a quarterback, you know, and somebody could trade up and grab that Bryce Young. Someone needs Bryce Young. You know, they can move up to get him.
Like Indy. Maybe, right?
Yeah, but Indy would go for CJ Stroud. I don't see them going for a smaller quarterback. You know, there are 2 big quarterbacks that they drafted in the last 30 years were Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. Both huge, both big guys. So I don't see Indy going for the undersized Bryce Young. I don't see that. If Indy moves up, I think they're going to try. So
you think that top 5 is going to have the guy from Clemson and maybe 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah. And I don't know who the number 1 offensive lineman is yet. Like, you know,
it's the guy, isn't it? The guy from Northwestern?
Yeah, I haven't studied him yet.
There's a guy from Northwestern and Ohio State.
With 2 or 3 weeks to go before the draft, I'll have the first 20 picks down. Right. I'll have them all for you.
Right. Okay. NBA trades. Who had the best trades? Go top. Give me like the first 3. Like out of all the teams, who do you think had the best trades?
Well, right off the bat, the best player that was traded was Kevin Durant, obviously. Sure. They gave up a ton to get him. They gave up, 2 great role players to get him. Yeah. But still, they're 2 role players. I mean, Cam Johnson and Bridges, they're 2 role players. So I would have made that trade any day. So right now, Phoenix they have Booker, Durant, Chris Paul, and Ayton. That's their top 4. That's the best trade. When you get the best player, in the league, and you trade role players to get him. That's the best trade. Yeah,
because I don't think that these picks are really worth too much anymore. You know, I'd give up first round picks like crazy because I think it's so diluted. I think it's so diluted now who you get out of high school or whatever that you a college or Europe or whatever. You might get someone, you might not. I'd give up stuff. I think that's the feeling because it seems like they give up picks like crazy people.
Well, the Lakers held on to their picks,
manhole cover.
Yeah. But they made the right trades. I mean, they got they got Malik Beasley, they got Jared Vanderbilt, and they got D'Angelo Russell for Russell Westbrook, right? I mean, that was the right trade. They got the right trade.
And 1 first rounder, right?
Yeah, they only gave away 1 first rounder, and it was lightly protected. But the problem with the Lakers is I think that was too late. I think the trade might have been too late. They made a second trade too. They traded Thomas Bryant away.
I liked him.
I liked him too, but he wasn't going to get any playing time because Vanderbilt's a better rebounder and a better defender, so they wanted him there. And then they got Bamba late for the second round pick. So the Lakers got they got some 3-point shooting. They got some needed parts, definitely needed parts. But I don't know. They got 31 losses. I mean, there's only the Lakers are going to have to win like 17 out of 20 or something like that to make.
They have to go on a run. They have to go on a run.
I don't see it. I just don't see it right now. And the other thing is, they finally traded Westbrook, but he was actually playing pretty good. I mean, he's not great, and he's still. I mean, when he has the ball, your whole thing is don't shoot it. Please don't shoot it.
He loves shooting it.
Because he's always open. Like the way the the way the teams defend Russ is they're 3 steps back and in their heads they're going shoot it. But
I call him don't they call him Westbrick? Everybody call him Westbrick.
Yeah, I hate that. And then stupid Skip calls LeBron LeBrick. I hate that. Like that
doesn't make sense. That makes no sense.
Of course, Westbrook's not a good shooter, but I'm not going to change his name.
LeBron's a good shooter. I can't believe you would call LeBron that.
Calls him LeBrick because LeBron's 3-point shooting percentage is so low, right? He's not a good 3-point shooter, but whatever.
So let me ask you. Okay, so Phoenix obviously maybe they had the best. Denver they picked up Bryant. The Lakers got 3 second-round picks. When they did that trade, I was like, are they trying to set up a package for something else with those 3 second-rounders?
They sent a couple of them to get Bamba.
That's what they did. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Bamba was so Bamba. He's good. So they had to give up Bryant, and they still got that kid, that guy. What's his name, Gabriel or whatever? That you said he was like a horse that was just born.
Yeah, he stumbles around. Yeah, Wenyan Gabriel. Yeah, he's got those legs. He looks like he's wobbly. Yeah,
he's funny, that guy. But I love his energy. I'm gonna miss Bryant, but when Bamba gets there, if Bamba it doesn't do well. I know he can fight now. Like he went after coach's son over there, Rivers. Rivers went over there and started barking at him. Bamba got up, and I'm like, good, because you know what? Sometimes you got to play a little rough. You got to play a little old Detroit Piston ball.
We're okay with a fight every now and then. I guess he's suspended 1 game, so Bamba's going to miss the first game with the Lakers because he's suspended.
So overall, you think they improved? Phoenix obviously improved probably the best, but the Lakers improved.
And the Clippers got Eric Gordon. Bones Highland. I don't know who Bones Highland is. I mean,
I love that name.
Weird. It's weird. If I don't know you, like I that's weird. Like I don't know who Bones Highland is. I don't know where he played college ball. I gotta look him up now. Now he's on the Clippers. But they got rid of Reggie Jackson. They got rid of John Wall, and they got rid of Luke Kennard. So they got rid of. They just switched out a bunch of guards. Basically,
I know where that Bones guy went. I was reading a story about him the other day.
Is he a Tennessee guy? I don't. For some reason,
no. What's his last name again?
Hyland. Hyland.
Yeah. He went. That's at VCU.
Oh, okay. I know. Well, VCU used to be the old Shaka Smarts team, but that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, he went to VCU. So do you think that Gordon deal was pretty good? I would have liked to get Gordon for the Lakers, but
yeah, I mean Gordon's supposed to be good. I don't know. I mean, I don't see how he's that much different than Reggie Jackson. In fact, when Reggie Jackson played the Lakers, he killed the Lakers.
He's good.
Used to kill the Lakers.
Yeah, I get what you mean. That's kind of weird. Yeah, because Reggie Jackson it seems like
that's the same thing. I don't see.
And he's got more. He moves better too, Reggie Jackson, than Gordon. Yeah. Gordon's very stationary now. He doesn't move.
Short, stocky guy.
All right, so it remains to be seen. But I'll tell you one thing: Boston gained because Brooklyn's done now. It's over. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but that conference is still just the 3 teams. It's the Bucks, the Sixers, and the Celtics. Those are the 3 best teams of basketball. Those are the 3 best teams. Those 3
and teams. And then do you think the Lakers were hoping just to make the play-in game, but Phoenix, that was a good move. I don't think the Pelicans really made any kind of move that's going to be anything. What do you, Gary Trent Jr.? I mean,
no, they didn't do anything, and they're just waiting on Zion to come back. The thing with the Lakers is if they can get back into the play-in spot, the 10th spot, get the play-in spot, and then if they can win that play-in, and then they're the 8th seed or whatever it is. The thing with the Lakers is they can beat Denver. Anthony Davis can stop Jokic. He always has. If Davis is healthy, they can beat Denver. So the Lakers are a weird team. If they can just get into the play-in and win that, they end up playing Denver, who's going to be the number 1 seed. The Lakers could win the first series, and then you never know. Like if the Lakers win 1 series in the playoffs, you never know. Maybe they go on a roll. But
exactly.
I don't even know if they're going to make it.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Next one. This is the last one. I just wanted to talk about it fast. I wanted you to give me your opinion on it because it came up, and I don't even know if we know why. They sent the playmaker home during NFL Network. Sent the playmaker home during Radio Row. I was watching him on Fox, and he was doing interviews. I love him. He was doing good. The guys like him. You didn't respect that guy. They respect the playmaker. Respect him. And all of a sudden, then he's gone. They got him out of the hotel. He was talking to some girl. I don't know.
Well, he did Radio Row on Monday, and then he went out Monday night, which I listened to him on the Dallas. I listen to the Fan 105.3 in Dallas all the time, right? And he's on there all the time. He's on the Fan. They love him. And he said, I'm gonna be there. We're gonna be going out at night. We're gonna be having fun at night. Okay, so he goes out Monday night, comes back late to the hotel, and apparently he stopped and saw a woman in the lobby. He stopped and he claims that he spoke to her for 45 seconds, shook her hand. That was the only like contact that they've had. He claims that he shook her hand, and then he went up to his room. He says that she never was in his room. So the next day he wakes up and the woman filed a complaint against him. So what they did was they moved him out of that hotel. And I'm only guessing that it must have been the Ritz-Carlton, or it must have been one of the super high-end hotels, and the woman stayed there also. So they moved him out of that hotel the next day. And so then he claims he was drunk when he came back. He says, I don't even remember meeting any woman.
Which is possible.
Which of course is possible. But then they said that, well, we have it on videotape. We have it on in the lobby. They didn't let him see the video. This is all Michael Irvin talking. They didn't let him see the video, but they said that we have video and you spoke with her less than a minute, and and they told him what the interaction was.
Okay.
So beyond that, no one has any explanation. Then they pulled him from all their coverage, so they basically sent him home. So his explanation was brief conversation and a handshake. There's got to be way more than that, or else they're not going to kick you out of the hotel, and they're not going to send you home. So the accusation has to be worse than that. I mean, that's just 2 + 2, right? 2 + 2 is 4. You're the guy, right? That's what that is.
They must have some tape of hallway. They have to have some tape. The reason they didn't show them all the tape, they must have a hallway tape where she went to his room. They got to have something.
Well, at this point, there are no charges filed. No charges have been announced. So unless they ask the woman to withhold filing charges. And then the other thing is, if she's staying in that hotel as well, is she a media member? Who is she?
What is she? Because I'll tell you, remember when we went to the NBA All-Star game in the late 90s and we stayed at the Hilton, and the Hilton on Fifth Ave was like the place where everyone was staying. Remember? Everyone was staying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember all the girls? And like they're just around, like all these girls, because all the players were there, and there's all these girls, and they're all shaking hands and talking, and everybody's hanging out, having drinks, and da 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 da.
Well, that was 25 years ago. It was a little different then too. I mean, not
everybody had a fur coat on too, Tom. I remember that.
Everyone had a fur coat and no camera on their phone.
Yeah, no one had no camera on their phone. But the funny thing was, I remember walking in there with you. Everyone had a fur coat on. Yeah. I was like, look at this. Everybody's copying Walt Frazier. All right, so we'll see what happens with the playmaker, but I like the playmaker. I like him.
We love the playmaker. Everybody loves the playmaker.
I love him. All right, so look, let's get now, finally, halfway in. Let's talk about Super Bowl Sunday, LV Dose, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. Let's break it down a little bit, and then we'll get into making our bets here. So what do you think, just off the top of your head, these two teams, the matchup?
Yeah, so the biggest question is, how's Patrick Mahomes' ankle, right? Because he blew his ankle out 3 weeks ago now, right? He blew it out against Jacksonville, right? And then he played the next week against who they beat? Oh, against Cincinnati. He played basically on 1 foot in Cincinnati. Then he had the week off. So that's been 3 weeks since he injured his ankle. So his ankle should be better. Not close to 100%, but it should be better. So I don't expect him to be limping around on Super Bowl Sunday. But still not going to be moving at full speed. He's still not going to be cutting and dodging the pass rush. So that's where the biggest problem is going to be right now, is that the Eagles have an excellent pass rush, and the Chiefs have a quarterback that's not 100% in terms of his mobility. So that's, to me, that's the biggest question mark in this game. Is Andy Reid going to come up with a game plan that's going to be quick strike? A lot of passes for yaks, a lot of yards after the catch. Is that going to be the design, or is Andy Reid going to let Mahomes go back to pass and run around, which they do often, which doesn't always work for them? I don't think that will work. I think that Andy Reid is going to have to outcoach the young Eagles guys, and that's the question. Can Andy Reid outcoach this I guess Jonathan Gannon is the defensive coordinator, Sirianni's the head coach, Steichen is the offensive coordinator. Andy Reid's going to have to come up with a game plan that's going to have to protect his quarterback and like make that pass rush basically, just basically emasculate their pass rush, just take it away from them. And that's quick striking. So I think that's the first thing that you want to watch for. And then, of course, the second thing is that Kansas City doesn't have a great defense. I mean, they have they're in the Super Bowl. They must have a good enough defense. Yeah. But Philadelphia's got that running game. So does Philadelphia come out and just dominate the line of scrimmage and keep the ball? Like, if they can do that, have Hurts run the ball, a lot of that RPO stuff, just keep the ball in time of possession, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. That's what I think Philly is going to try to do.
I think Philly will definitely do that. I think they're going to pound it with that offensive line and say, okay, let's see what you guys can do. And that's going to open up their throwing game. And I think Kansas City, I agree with you. I think Reid could definitely outcoach them. And I think Reid, what's his face is coming back for KC. Isn't he the guy from LSU, the little running back with 3 names?
Yeah, but he's not going to play, even though he's coming back.
He's not playing?
Because that Pacheco guy is better. Like, they like him better. So they're going to try to get Pacheco the ball. Edwards-Helaire is going to be there. He's going to be available. McKinnon will be the back that will catch the ball. Like Isaiah Pacheco and then that McKinnon guy. Those are the 2 guys that the Chiefs want to get involved in the game plan. That's what they've been using. That's been working really well. Also, they got Kadarius Toney supposed to be available. Juju Smith is supposed to be available. But the Chiefs are banged up with injuries. Like, all those guys are injured. The quarterback's injured. Juju's injured. Kadarius is injured. Edwards-Helaire's injured. There are a lot of injuries.
Well, and also today, I read on iHeartRadio, their newsletter they send out, that Chris Jones, the big defensive tackle, said that a few guys are a little under the weather. They got sniffles, they got sore throat. Mahomes was sniffing. Chris Jones, some other guys. They didn't mention any other names after that. That's not a good sign. Like Chris Jones said, his he had a sore throat, and also his bronchial was a little short, his breath.
Yeah, I don't know why players do that. Like, I wouldn't listen. If I had a head cold, or my teammates had a head cold, I wouldn't tell anybody. I don't know why they do that. The NFL is weird. The NFL, the teams are
a lot of talking now.
Well, they have to report injuries. Like, there has to be an injured list, right?
And today their injury list was nothing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so the team they're legally bound to report all the injuries, and they're supposed to list them in categories, right? Why would a player get up and talk about an injury? Like, you don't have to. The player doesn't have to talk about an injury. If even in media day, if they're asking you questions about how's your injury, or how's your teammate's injury, or how's the team as a whole, you don't have to answer. All you got to do is say, listen, we're supposed to report all the injuries. Just go to the list, check it out. Like, you don't have to talk about injuries. I don't know why Chris Jones would even offer that up.
I know, and it doesn't make any sense.
Unless it's a bit of gamesmanship. He's trying to, like, maybe I don't know if that, but I don't even think they're that bright to do that. Like, why even bring it up? Like, why even go there? Who cares?
And their PR guy, when they go to the microphone on these things, they're telling them before they have meetings about it. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
I don't think they are, buddy. I swear to God, I don't think these players are being coached by their PR guys.
That's not good. Then it's not good.
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, who's going to coach Chris Jones?
Well, I know. Yeah.
I mean, he's like the star of the team. He's been there forever. He's going to say what he wants to say. I just don't know why he would offer up, oh, I got the sniffles or I got the bronchitis thing. What? Like, what? Why even say that? It doesn't, nothing benefits you. The other thing is, as a player, you don't get any points for being honest with the media. Like, you don't have to be honest with the media. You could just feed them a line of bull, because the media is not going to be honest with you. Like, you could tell the media something completely honest, and they're not going to write the real story. They're going to put some kind of narrative on it,
and they're going to bait you. They're going to bait you into stuff. So I mean, in this, people talk about this game. Obviously, they talk about every little aspect of it. The one thing that I think is a weird thing that may help one of the teams, it doesn't mean I'm leaning that way, but I think I like Andy Reid. I think he's got the experience. Again, it's all about Mahomes, and I know if Mahomes isn't that mobile, or Reid doesn't want to put him into a situation where he can get hit again, they're going to figure out how to dump it to Pacheco or dump it to McKinnon or dump it over the middle to all these guys that are hurt or not hurt, even if they double Kelsey. But I think the big thing's going to be this. It's a weird thing, but I think it's going to be this. Philly loves to go for it on fourth down. They're going to get in some fourth down scenarios. It's the way it's going to be. Maybe 3, I don't know. And they're going to go for it. And if Kansas City can stop them on 1, maybe 2, Kansas City won't do that. They'll kick a 55-yard field goal. They'll kick it.
Yeah,
that's what Reid does. He likes doing that. And so I'm wondering if that is such a weird thing. It's such a small thing. It's such a thing that no one will talk about. Talk about A.J. Brown getting catches, running for yards, and and everybody else, Smith and all these guys, and then Kelsey and all this. But could it just be that, even though Casey's D, like you said, not that good, but you could stop somebody. Mano on a fourth.
Yeah. Well, they have talent. They have young linebackers. They have that guy, William Gay from Mississippi. Mississippi. They have the other guy,
guy's good.
Bolton, I think, from Missouri. They got good young linebackers. They got talent on their defense. They got Chris Jones is maybe the best defensive tackle in the NFL.
Guy's good.
He moves up and down the line. So they got a good enough team. The one problem with stopping Philadelphia is, you're right, they do go for it on fourth down. That's if Sirianni doesn't change. Like, if Sirianni tries to get cute in the Super Bowl and do something different, that'd be a mistake. If Sirianni just sticks to what he's been doing all year long, that would be the way to go for Philly. And then the other thing is, they got that one fourth down play where if it's fourth down and 1 or less than 1, they go into that rugby scrum and no one stops that. Like that, I love that rugby scrum that they run. They bring in,
well, because it hurts. He's like got those thighs like Robert Newhouse.
It's not just that though. They bring the tackle Jordan Mailata, who's 360 pounds. They bring him in at guard, right? And then they put the 2 guys or 3 guys behind, and they've developed this play where it's amazing. Hurst goes into the line. They push the line. They push him from behind, and they push the whole pile 5 yards forward. That's the great play. That rugby scrum is almost indefensible. I've never seen anybody stop it. The only time I've seen a team stop it is when they tried to do it with Minshew. Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, he's not as big. He's not as strong.
The Cowboys, and they tried to do it against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys hit the ball or something, knocked it back.
But like Hurts? What's he a squat, like 550?
No, I heard like 600 or 700 pounds.
Yeah, come on, that guy's strong as a bull.
Yeah. So
you know what's interesting about what you just said? I love those things. Like we've seen football when it was in its infant stages, basically, and a quarterback sneak was nothing like that. And remember how quarterbacks too? I love now how the play blows up, throws it in the ground, it's incomplete.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, they try to make a play.
Yeah.
They'd get sacked or they'd throw an interception or something. Yeah. There are some great things that they do now, these little idiosyncrasies that they do that I watch it and I go, geez, wouldn't that be great back in the day if Roger Staubach just went back and the play blew up and you're supposed to throw it to Calvin Hill and he just dumped it in the dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you just think like it's so that's the one thing about these the sports that I really love is how these things progress into interesting things that they figure out the angle, right, of how to make it work. Like that 4th and 1, you're right, the rugby thing. How come no one ever thought about that?
It's great. I mean, everyone does some version of that play. Everyone does it. Tom Brady is supposed to be the best quarterback sneak guy ever, but the way the Eagles do it, the other thing is when they hike the ball, you don't even see the guy with the ball. He disappears into the line. Like, it's crazy. That's how, if you watch a rugby game, that's what happens. It's just 10 guys like pushing against each other.
Yeah.
And 10 guys on the other team. So
do you think what I said, like, could that be something? Because it could be a very close game. Do you look at this game that it could be a close game? And if you stop someone and you get 3?
I think it's going to be a close game. I think that all those things are, what you're saying, they're true. They're going to come true. And I also think that, Kansas City, they're going to have a wide open game on offense. Kansas City is going to have to, they're going to have to control the ball. They're going to have to move the ball up and down the field, because if the Eagles get their hands on the ball and they run the ball, that game's going to go by quick. That game's going to be fast. I guarantee you're going to be watching that game and you're going to be going, oh my God, that's 2-minute warning already in the first half. Like, you're going to be like, how'd that go? If the Eagles get the ball and run the ball, forget it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's exactly the way. So I look at it. Okay, so we could talk about it till we're like purple in the face, but let me look at some of these things here. Hang on here. Where's the I'm looking for the player. All right, so there's so many. So let's do this, because we could go back and forth. That was my little thing that I think could be. I still think it's going to be a close game. So let's go to Bookie Beatdown, okay? And what I've done is I'm on the Bet Online. Believe works with Bet Online, so I'm on the Bet Online site. And so if we could just go right to the game first, and then I want to just look at the player props quick, because there's always some fun player props in here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anything sticks out to you, passing yards for Hurts or Mahomes, or touchdowns for someone, or there's so many of the things. But let's just delve into the right now on Bet Online. The Chiefs are +1 at -110. The Eagles are -1, -110, obviously. And then the over-under is at 51. So it's a pick 'em game.
Well, the over-under has been going up gradually.
It went up.
Right? Yeah. And I think the original line was the Eagles were favored. The Eagles were favored by 2, maybe 2.5 originally.
And it was like 48 and a half, or
So I think by the time the game kicks off, I think it's going to be a pick 'em. It's going to be an even match game. It's going to be no point spread. I think if you bet right before the game kicks off, you're going to get even. Like, if you get the Chiefs, it's going to be no point spread. It's going to be even pick 'em game. And I think that the total under is going to be around 51, maybe 51.5. The only bet I would make in this game, and that I won the last 2 weeks. I won the NFC Championship game when I had the Niners and the Eagles. I had that game under, and that went under, right?
Yep.
And then the week before, I had the Cowboys Niners under, and that went way under, 31 points. That game was 19-12. So I'm not picking the teams in these games, because I don't know. I didn't know that the quarterback for the Niners was going to get hurt, and then that second string guy came in and couldn't even catch the snap. I didn't know it was going to be that bad, but I had the under in that game. And this is the same thing with this game. Like, I don't really have a team. If I had to pick a team, I'd pick the Eagles, but the Chiefs have the best player on the field. So, and he's the best player by far. But this game is an over game. And this game is definitely going to be over, because to me, even if the Eagles score 21 points, 24 points, 28 points, the Chiefs are going to be making all these crazy comebacks. They're going to be running all kinds of plays in the second half to get, even if they're down 28-7, the Chiefs are going to come back 28-24, something like that. So I would take the over.
Yeah, I was, it's interesting you said that, because I was writing down notes. And I wrote down somewhere in here. I actually wrote down that I can't pick this game, because again, it could be a field goal at the end either way, or it could be whatever. And right now it's -1. -1's a pick 'em. Like, you could take Philly if I had to take a game, a team, if I had to take the team, I would take. Hang on, let me look at it because it's not. It's like one. It's interesting. It's
Well, it's a game.
See,
it's a game you shouldn't bet.
No, and I know.
You don't have to bet every game just because it's the Super Bowl and it's the last game of the year.
You don't have to make every bet.
Yeah, you don't.
And I know the idea, and I'll apologize up front, because I know a lot of the betting apps and everybody, it's about betting the props, it's about betting live. I get all that, and I understand that, but it's also about, a better making a good bet and winning a bet. And with this one, just because of Mahomes and the possibility that it could be messed up, if I had to take a team, if you put a gun to my head and said, you got to take one of these, you got to figure it out, I would just take, instead of Philadelphia minus 110 for -1, I just would take minus 118 for the money line. It's 118. $8 more, and I don't have to worry about if it ends up Philly winning by 1 and I push. I would win then, right? So I'd win. I would do that only because, but I don't like it. I'm like you. I wrote down that the bet of the day is the over.
Yeah, it's the over.
It's the over. There's no way it's anything else. And so I don't care. Yeah, but again,
you're thinking Kansas City's defense is not going to stop Philly. And I've been saying earlier, like Philly's going to run the ball and try to control the clock. Well, if Philly gets 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns, if they get touchdowns, Kansas City is going to come back. I think that Kansas City could be down in this game, just like they were a few years ago when they were losing 24-14 to the Patriots or to the 49ers, and Mahomes scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I think that Kansas City could be down in this game. And the other thing is, you can pass on Philly. They don't have as good a defensive backfield as people think. Darius Slay and Bradbury are not that good. Like, I know that maybe they're both.
Slay's supposed to be the guy.
He's not the guy. Like, the Cowboys kill him. The Cowboys, they killed Darius Slay. He's never. Darius Slay hasn't stopped a Cowboy yet when he was with Detroit or when he was with Philly. So you can pass on them. And, and that's where you beat Philly, is you could pass on them. So if they give him time, and he can get the ball down the field, I think that Kansas City could score. But again, this game, the over-under, the Kansas City-Philly, I wouldn't touch this game. Like, if you're a real bettor, if you're a real gambler, you don't mess around. You just don't mess around with this game. Like, I have friends here in Vegas, they gamble every week, and they say, oh, it's fun. I can't watch the games unless I bet them. It's just so much more fun. All right, well, they never have any money. Like, my buddies never have any money because they bet the games every week because they have so much fun, but yet they never win. They never have any money because they're betting all these games where there's not a winner. Like, there's not an easy pick. A real handicapper will only give you one pick, one couple games, and this ain't one of them.
Yeah, this game, if a real handicapper had to give you this game, he'd give you the over. And then if he was inclined to take any team, he would just take one of these 2 teams, and basically it's a straight bet on the money line.
We should have got John Ryan today. We should have got him on the show today. He would have been good.
I mean, it's a tricky thing. I'm not saying, like, there's a lot of great, prop bets during the game. I like the in-live stuff. I can't really talk about the in-live stuff right now because it's gonna move a bit. But I think if you've got money and you want to put money down, like big money, you want to put, a dime or whatever you want to put, a couple dimes, you pick the over. You take the over and you watch. And then if you want to go in live game, and as the game's going, and then take Philly or KC, whichever way the game's going, like you said, maybe KC's going to be down. Then you could take KC plus some points to come back. But I'm with you. I wrote that down. I just was like, I like the over. I wish I took the over when it was 48.5 and bought it down to 48. So that's our take on it. And if it's a half, remember to buy it down. Obviously, you gotta. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. You don't do that. The other thing. And I'm still not convinced that I know who's going to win this game.
We don't know.
I don't know who's going to win this game. I can't say. Because I don't know the unknowns. I haven't watched Mahomes play yet. I don't know. Like, it seems like Philly's the better team. That's what people are saying. But, that doesn't mean nothing. Mahomes is no joke. And that team's no joke, and neither is Reed. So there's no guarantee.
And Philly is supposed to be the better team. But remember a couple weeks ago, I was telling you the 49ers had the weakest 12-game winning streak I've ever seen in my life, right? And they were that was a weak 12-game winning streak. And the Eagles won 14 games. They beat the Giants and the Niners in the playoffs. I still say the Eagles aren't that good. Like the Eagles beat nobody. They beat nobody all year. They beat the Niners with no quarterback. They beat the Giants after coming off their big win. I saw the Cowboys kill the Eagles defense, even though the Eagles had Gardner Minshew. The Eagles are not that good, and Kansas City isn't either. Like, I know that these are, maybe the two best teams in the league, but this was a really down year for the good teams in the NFL. I think any one of 6, 7, 8 teams could have won it all this year because there isn't a really great team. And the Eagles can be hammered. I mean, if you could beat them if you just play a good game.
And the Chiefs beat the best team. They beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's better than the Giants, or what do you call it? They're better. They're just San Fran. They're better. They're a better team.
The Chiefs
they beat them.
They got all the penalties. The referees that had a bad game. The referees did a bad job in that game too. But Cincinnati is a good team. Yeah, and the Chiefs, the Chiefs beat Jacksonville. Cincinnati beat Buffalo. It's just the Eagles have beat nobody. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not impressed with the Eagles at all. You can beat them. They look formidable. Like 14-3, 2 easy wins in the playoffs. They look very formidable. They haven't played a great quarterback. Like I don't know, what great quarterback have they played? I don't really know. I don't think they played a great quarterback all year. I guess they beat Aaron Rodgers earlier in the year when he did
whatever.
But they haven't beat anybody. So this is a game where if Mahomes is healthy and Mahomes is getting rid of the ball, Mahomes should dominate. Mahomes should dominate that defense.
Well, the thing is too, that's why with us we're just taking the over, because if there was no injury ever with Mahomes, and it was just the way it goes, like status quo, right? KC would be favored by 2.5.
For sure.
3.
Yeah.
And I would say, oh, maybe I take them. But we don't know right now. It's a weird scenario. Yeah. And so I think, I'm not going to bet against Andy Reid and Mahomes because I don't know. I'm not going to do it. I'll take the over. Take the over.
Yeah.
I'll take the over.
I'm not.
So we're gonna take the over now. Okay, so let's wrap it up. But I wanted to do a funny thing because we're talking about betting, and we gave our pick now, and I'm confident with that over. I know a lot of these games go under, these Super Bowls, but I'm confident with that over. And I'm not saying you go bet the house, but you could go throw a couple dimes on that. I think that's the bet. And when we were younger and foolish and living in Los Angeles, we would make bets. And again, though, we learned our lesson. That's why we're placing one bet today. Because we would bet a lot of bets. Remember, we would bet bets. Bet this, bet that. Then that game, chase the money over there. Yeah. And we knew it was a bad thing because we were told by people back in the neighborhood, don't chase money. You lose, take your lumps, you move on to next week. And we were doing weird things. And remember, we got on this terrible streak. Right, this is our final sweaty thought. That terrible losing streak that me and you got on, we couldn't pick anything, and it ends up. I mean, we were down some big money, and we were trying to put the money together. Remember? And I want you to get in here because you probably can tell the story better than me. And we had to go meet up with this guy.
Well, that's when but our bookie back then, was a guy that used to sell
water
supply, like Culligan water.
Yeah, he worked for. I'm going to say the name. I don't care. He worked for Culligan Water, and I was like, we're never going to get in trouble with this guy. He works for Culligan Water.
But he was like, this little chubby old white guy. Right. It was just like he was just a nobody. He was taking our bets, and we were on a run. Like earlier in the year, we were picking the Chiefs. They had Marty Schottenheimer and Christian Okoye. Yeah. We were picking the Chiefs over Miami, and then I picked Buffalo a few times with Jimmy.
We were hot.
We were like hot. We were winning, and then we got too cocky and started betting. There was a couple weeks, we had a couple bad weeks. We started chasing, and then it was down to like Monday night game, Washington versus Denver, and I forget we picked Denver, but Washington killed them. Right. And I remember we were all sitting at the bar, you, me, Frankie D, Manny T. We were all there at the bar, and we were losing, and it looked like we were going to lose the fourth quarter. And you said, hey man, I don't think I have the money. And I said, I don't have it either. Right.
Because we never thought we would lose. And I don't even think we really were concerned, because it was a little white guy who sold water filters, and we're from an Italian neighborhood, and we would go to the Italian clubs, and we would deal with bookies all the time. So I think we thought, forget about this guy. This guy's no big deal.
But he was just a runner for the
real. He was the runner, yeah. So remember, we had to go to meet this guy, and we had to meet him somewhere.
It was in the valley somewhere. It was in San Fernando Valley somewhere. I don't know. We met him outside of like a convenience store in a parking lot.
Yeah, right. and we got out of the car, and then tell like the story. We get out of the car. It's me, you, and Frankie, right?
Me, you, and Frankie, and the guy was it was like a big Italian guy. He was like he was a stereotypical like mafia guy, and he would pull up and you like immediately went up to him and you said, "Hey, I'm Barry." You stuck out your hand and you shook his hand. You go, "I'm Barry," and like confidently, and you put it back in his heels, and he's like, "Okay, where's the money?" And we're like, "Well, we ain't got it." And he's like, "What the hell?" He said, "We ain't got it." And so then he started yelling at us. What the hell kind of bull? He said, we should be at a restaurant right now talking like men, not outside of a parking lot. And he started scolding us like he was our father.
He goes, we should be at a restaurant like men eating dinner.
Yeah.
And we had Frankie D with us, and just a little backstory on Frankie D. Frankie D's a boxer. And so we thought but they didn't know, they didn't care. But Frankie D, I thought, well, fucking, if something happens, Frankie D, because we've seen Frankie D down like 10 guys at once. I mean, I wouldn't know what happened. But when we got there, he had a few guys in another car.
Yeah, Frankie was scared. He didn't even get out of the car.
Yeah, he had other guys like lurking somewhere. And so then what happened? Like, he said that, and then what did he say to us when we left? Like,
what he set up. We were supposed to pay him, but I remember like there was some, like they had some Mexican guy calling you all the time. Brady, this is Victor. Like, some guy kept calling your answer machine asking for the money. And
I'm like, oh my God, this is a big deal. We're screwed. So then I don't even know what happened at the end, but we never thought it would go that far, because the Culligan guy was this little white guy, and then all of a sudden we're with these Italians, and they were actually elevated Italians from what we were used to back in the day betting. And Frankie D, I thought Frankie D was going to be our ace in the hole, but then it was weird. Like that guy, remember, he got out of the car by himself, and I said, I got to shake this guy's hand. I mean, I can't, because we're going to have to tell him sooner or later we don't get the money. And then there was another car over in the like off to the side. And I'm like, oh my God, there's another car. And you couldn't see because it was tinted windows. And I'm like, who the hell's in there? And we only had Frankie D. But I still was confident, because I was like, well, if they don't have weapons, like guns, Frankie D, we've seen Frankie D knock out like 5 guys, like in one setting.
It was in the middle of the day at a convenience store in like Encino. Like, nothing was going to happen. I don't even know how did we know enough to set the meeting there? Like, who set that meeting?
I think he did. Well, I think he did, and we just went, and it just happened to be there.
Random meeting, like he actually got word to us. You meet me at like 2:00 on a Tuesday in Encino.
It was 7-Eleven, wasn't it? 7-Eleven or something
like that. Yeah, I mean.
So then what? We got in the car, we left. Then I was getting all those phone calls on my answer machine, because it's before cell phones. and I think I don't think I had a pager, and then it wasn't him, it was some other guy, and it was calling. They knew where we lived too. They knew it.
It was because I think the Culligan guy knew.
Yeah, he knew. And so whatever happened, did we pay them?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think you made payments or something.
I think I asked my brother for money.
I think you made payments, and then I paid mine too. I think I paid mine like a couple days or something like that. I don't. Maybe we were trying not to pay. Maybe we thought.
I think we were trying not to pay.
Yeah, I think we thought the Culligan guy was a nothing, so we were just like, screw him. We're not going to pay. We thought he was like an ice back in Rome.
Yeah, I think we're trying not, but then it just the pressure got too tough. And I think then we figured out it's better if we make the payments, and so we did that. But I think we were more stunned that we got on a losing streak than to go see that guy. Like I think we were more like just in denial. Like, how the heck you know everything? How could we even get into this thing? Yeah. So the moral of the story is this: like now you can go to the casino, you can go to betting apps. A lot of different states has legalized gambling, and I'm all for it. I think it's good. You know, I think it's good for everybody, you know, if that's what you want to do and wherever you want to do it. But, you know, also they have that disclaimer, you know, don't like bet over your head. You know, if you have a problem, call 1-800 . We didn't have those things back then. We were dealing with a guy that he didn't care about 1-800, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't care about don't bet over your head, whatever. He didn't care. So we learned the hard way. And so the moral of the story is that's why today our best bet is one bet. Yeah. And if I could talk to you during the game, I could probably tell you a couple prop bets here and there as the game goes, because you can figure out which way the game's going and you can do some things like it. But I'll tell you now, I'm pretty confident that if Tommy and I were back years ago and we were back talking to the Culligan guy, the bet we would make would be that one bet instead of 10 million bets and chasing it. We would bet the over in this Super Bowl.
But I do have one prop though. My one prop bet that I say my one prop is if you're
He's got a prop. Okay.
My one prop is that if you're going to bet who misses the first field goal or the first extra point, it's going to be the Philly guy. I pick him to miss the extra point.
What's the odds on that, I wonder?
Not Harrison Butker. So take the Philly guy. I don't know what's the Philly guy's name. Elliott? I don't even know the Philly kicker's name.
Yeah, he was on a commercial today for Little Caesar Pizza.
Pretty good, but he'll miss the extra point. That's the prop.
So that's your only prop.
Yeah, that's my only
so anyway, okay, so you know, Barry D and Tommy T here, Old Men in Sweats. Thank you for listening, watching. Go follow us and listen to us on our podcast. Go subscribe and follow us on our Instagram, et cetera, YouTube, blah, 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 all that kind of great stuff. And remember, we won't try harder next time.
So don't even ask.
Don't even ask. All you sweaties out there, we love you. Stay sweaty Vegas. And, you know, again, take the over, but don't bet with a guy that does water filters.
You got that right, buddy. You got that right, buddy.
Don't bet with that guy. All right, Tommy T.
Hey, man.
We'll catch you later, buddy. Yeah, don't. Even though the guy might look like no big deal, and he's just doing water filters, make sure you got your information. Make sure you know what you're doing, and do it right. Take the over in this game.